Turn the volume off my phone.
It's the weekly armchair kickoff.
We're live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the London Lowdown, which is a branch of the weekly Armchair Kickoff show. My name is Sean Maroney, and I'm joined to you today with three podcast regulars. So there's William Bryant, Arsenal fan, Jack Lemson, Chelsea fan, and Steve McGrath, who's a Spurs fan. How are you all doing this evening, guys?
Good boy, good.
Never been better.
Tough to say that as a Chelsea fan. Dark days for Chelsea. I suppose when we're talking about London clubs, we may as well get off to the main talking point, which is Frank Lampard and his position as Chelsea manager. Obviously, Chelsea are going through a tough run there. One that we don't look like coming out of anytime soon. Jack, as a Chelsea fan, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on Lampard's position, and do you think he should be kept, or should a replacement be brought in?
So, two ways of looking at it. So my view, not my personal view, but I think he will probably go sooner rather than later. I don't. If they're not going to get rid of him now, they might as well keep him for the rest of the season. It makes absolutely no sense and bide their time. Personally, I don't want him to go. There are some major issues going on there, I would imagine, that need to be sorted out in the background. What I don't know whether it's. I think over the years with Chelsea, there's always been a lot of player power in the dressing room. Now, a lot of the big personalities are since gone, obviously, but you know there are still some big ones there. So whether that's anything to do with it, there is some rumours that people, players don't really know what their roles are in training and matches. So there's a bit of discontent there. I don't think Lampard knows what his best 11 is, which after this amount of time he probably should do, because he's continuously changing the midfield and the front three. The defence has been fairly consistent, but that's probably because he hasn't really got much choice. I think we got to be. It's easy to get carried away, but look, we were on a 17-game unbeaten run there not so long ago, so we got to remember that. Things are bad at the moment. We don't look like improving. That's the only thing, and I think he's probably got another few weeks left. And I think if he doesn't pull it around, whatever's going on in the background, then I think it's curtains for Frank Lampard, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. My big issue, like you said, is kind of the 11. He still doesn't know what his best 11 is. I think we actually played some great football last season when he had limited tools and stuff. But
really good,
yeah. This year now with a lot of players in, he doesn't want to fit them all in, and he's kind of I know Havertz and that have been underwhelming, but he should be playing a lot closer to the goal than what he's playing, I feel, and the formation isn't suiting and stuff. But I just don't see Lampard changing it up. He's changing the personnel, but not really the
system
the way Chelsea are playing. I've seen the last few games, is the likes of Werner and even the other day Hudson-Odoi, they're making plenty of runs in behind, but they're just not direct enough in picking out the passes, I think.
No, there's a lot of sideway passing going on, and I think playing Werner well out of position and not to his strengths. I mean, we were crying out for a striker for a while now, probably since Costa left, and I thought we finally got one in that's going to bang in 20 plus goals a season, and we play him on the wing, and he's just ineffective there, completely ineffective. And then what happens is he ends up then putting Giroud in for a couple of games. He might score a goal, so he plays him again, and he doesn't score. Then he changes back to Tammy Abraham. Tammy's the same. He might score a goal, so he'll keep him in, but then he doesn't score. Then he rotates it back around again. So there's no cohesion there between the front three. And, he's saying all the time that give us time. These players have never played together. But at the same time, if you're changing the system, changing the players, the front three all the time, different players, they're never going to get used to playing with each other. So how are they ever going to be able to form a partnership between them? And it's just sometimes with being a football fan, and you can probably all appreciate this, is sometimes it's so frustrating because as someone looking inside, you can from the outside looking in, you can always see the obvious things that managers should be doing sometimes, and they just never do them things. Now, obviously, look, it's easy for us to say, or for me to say that, but sometimes there's just little things that surely someone is watching back the games and saying, these are the little things that we should be picking up. But as you say, we're just doing the same thing doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But it's just we're just getting fouled out too easy. We're just we're just not good at the back at all. And then going forward, we cross the ball in all day long, and it just goes nowhere. Like it's kind of route one direct kind of football is what we play. Now, as you say, when it works, it looks really good, but it just isn't working at the moment. And he's no plan B, to be honest, by the looks of it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind it when he actually put Werner on against Leicester up front. He was more centrally. He actually played decent, I think.
If you're going to spend big money on a striker and players like Havertz, you need to be playing them in their positions, in their right positions. You need to be playing them where they're most effective. And we're not doing. It's like he's trying to fit in other players first, and sometimes players like Havertz, maybe we all know hasn't been good. He's not playing them where they should be playing. Like Havertz, Werner should be only played on the wing in an emergency. Now, I know we had a few injuries with wingers over the last couple of months, but that's well and truly over now. Like, we've got an abundance of wingers. We've Cho, who never plays, maybe a cameo. We've Ziyech. We have Pulisic. We've loads. Even Havertz can play on the wing now. It's not ideal, but there shouldn't be we shouldn't be playing him on the wing. Like, I just don't really understand it because I don't know.
I think I just kind of have a stance now at this time. Like I'd love Lampard to stay and do well, but I just have a stance that you're either going to give him till the end of the season or get rid now, because I don't there's a lot of talk he's getting 3 or 4 more games, but I just don't see the point in it. They're playing Wolves, Burnley and Luton in the next 3 games, and they're not exactly games where you say if we win it, it's a turnaround and we're looking better and everything's fixed and stuff. I think you're either going to give him till the end of the year or get rid now while we're kind of in trouble and hopefully peg teams back into 4th place. It's a difficult one to call. Guys from the outside, Steve, what's your view on Lampard and Chelsea at the moment?
I think the fact that he's not playing, like you said, Havertz and Werner in the positions that they earned their transfer fees and the interest in is crazy. He's not doing himself any favors there. If he had done and they weren't performing to the levels that you might expect, then there could be a bit more onus put on the players themselves, But right now, I don't think he's doing himself any favors. However, I think I know it's kind of the game nowadays, and especially at Chelsea. But I think it's to give him the boot now would be a bit premature. Whether I don't know. I don't think Abramovich has the capacity to give a 1 year kind of pass for the full season. He won't do that. He'll want someone to come in and get Chelsea an FA Cup or get them top 4 or something to say the season was worth the investment. So that's why I think Lampard will now. Hopefully it's not before the 4th of February when we play, but it's that it'd be just our luck that you get the new manager bounce.
It's typical, absolutely typical. I seen Keane Compton there thinking that Lampard should be given more time. Ole and Arteta are, they turn things around.
To answer Shane's question there, he's thrown in one there. I don't think they've done more harm than good. When you sign top players, you have to sign them you have to play them in the right manner. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think I don't know who's advising him anyway. Look, he's got some good coaches, but he just sometimes, and I love Lampard and I hate saying anything bad about him, he just seems clueless. He just doesn't. It's like if things are going against the team, just doesn't really know how to combat it or counteract it. Lampard doesn't seem to me the type of player, the type of manager that can go in at half time and absolutely, fuck everyone out of it, sort of thing, and throw a boot at someone's head if it needs it.
That's my point. Remember, I made it there a couple of weeks back. I said that that's my problem with the likes of Ole, with the likes of Arteta, with the likes of Lampard getting in, is that exactly what you're saying there, Jack, is what a manager gets spending a decade in the game and learning how to do that. And I think that's why these reactionary manager positions of the former players, it's kind of doomed to failure that early in their careers. I think there's like a period where they should be like serving their time. And I thought Lampard was doing it with the Derby appointment and what he was doing there, until he then obviously jumped to the Chelsea job. I think Arteta, fair enough, he had the experience under Pep as his assistant, but I still think his first role to be a Big Six Premier League club was very, very high risk, because what they're also risking as well is tarnishing their own reputations. If Lampard gets the boot now, where does he go?
He'll have to go back down again, won't he? Really,
he'll have to go back down at least to like bottom half of the Premier League, if not Championship. But Championship is where he should probably aim again, because if he goes bottom half of the Premier League, what's he going to be able to achieve there to gain status as a top manager? Then that's the risk. That's the risk there. I think I suppose it's working for United at the moment with Ollie, but again, it's just these tactical awareness leaves a lot to be desired at times, and I think that's again something that a manager 10 years into their career as a manager, no matter what the level, even if you go down to amateur level, somebody who's been over clubs for 5-10 years picks up on little things like that and make those tweaks and adjustments. Whereas
look at Brendan Rodgers. Just to your point exactly, look at Brendan Rodgers. He cut his teeth in the Chelsea youth team. He managed in the Championship. He managed in the Premiership. He went over to Scotland, and now he's back. And look how well he's doing. He's been around. He's young enough, but he's been around the block for a good few years now, and he has been a coach before he was a manager, and I think that served him really, really well.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I was actually saying today, the thing about Lampard, like you were saying there, Steve, the 1 year's experience with Derby and that. I think Chelsea is different to, say, I know a lot of top clubs are similar enough nowadays, but the Chelsea job is not a job that only comes around once in the blue moon. Chelsea, the way they've been coming along, it's every 3 or 4 years the job does come back up. So it's not like it was Lampard's last chance to get the job. I think he did jump a bit early at it, and I also do think that if Chelsea didn't have the transfer ban and the whole situation, Lampard probably would have been hired.
No, I don't think you would. I think you're right there. I don't think you would have. But you can't blame Lampard. If you're the club that you love and spent all that time with and had nothing but great memories comes and offers you a sack for cash to manage them, how can you say that? You can't blame Lampard for that. Maybe Chelsea, look, I think there was a bit of a craze, there is still a craze at the moment for younger managers, even in the lower leagues. You got the Crowley brothers. I think they were at Lincoln for years, and then they went up to Huddersfield or whatever their names are. All of these kind of trendy, managers wear slick suits, and same as Arteta, he's suaved away dresses, and Arsenal thought, he's been trained up by Pep. We're getting a mini Pep.
It's the modern game, I think. It's like they feel as if if you look at the likes of the Ancelottis, Pellegrinis, and all those kind of lads, their game is outdated, and that was a lot of the commentary around Jose getting the job at Spurs. Was that Spurs are notably, if you look back to the even with Pochettino thing, it was that we were getting someone saying who was playing the modern game and all this, and then we wanted to market the club itself as that kind of thing, the new stadium, new training ground, all this, and then we get Jose in, who's a dinosaur, and I think that's what a lot of clubs are kind of looking to get away from, is the negative football kind of side of it, and they want this free flowing, attacking, attractive continental style and all this, but experience plays an awful lot in management, an awful lot. You see the likes of Nagelsmann and that on the continent, and they're doing great, but a lot of the foundations there are built up over years and years and years of a structure, which is what, say, Chelsea don't have or Arsenal don't have, because Arsenal have lost their structure a little bit in terms of what Wenger did there, and how he's gone. They need to now build from the bottom up again. And I think, say, Chelsea, I suppose, there's no real time at Chelsea for structure. because it's always an instant success thing.
It just changes because it's so rapid, and I think people did really expect. I think fans really expected Lampard to really succeed. Now, look, he may well turn it around. The football was a funny game. Like 2 weeks ago, Ole was about to get sacked, worst manager in the world. Yeah. 2 weeks before that, it was Arteta. You know, like now, next thing you know, Ole's back at the wheel. Man United are top of the league, and they're going to win the league. But in 2 weeks' time, they could lose 3 games, and it's back to slagging him up. You know, it's such a finicky game.
It is. It's like Jose won Manager of the Month for November, when we were top of the league start of December, and then like we didn't win a game till the Leeds game after that. Do you know, it's like the Manager of the Month curse. So like it is a case of like, I mean, at this season especially, it's a complete roller coaster. But as I said, like the Ole thing, I think he's been. That's why, like, I won't say like they're being lucky, because I mean they're winning games, and like while a certain amount of luck needs to be there, you need to put the ball in the net at the same time. But there are times where you can kind of see a little naivety on his behalf in terms of decisions he makes or tactics and that, and then it's just it's an individual piece, like Pogba last night, like that goal, like that was incredible, but I don't think like that was anything to do with the tactic that Solskjaer implemented, you know.
I don't rate him at all, to be honest. And I'm sure Keane will be absolutely calling me every name under the sun, but I actually just think he's useless. He's nowhere near good enough for the standard that Man United need. And little bits of luck like that, you're saying, gets you through. And I don't know. It's just, he just doesn't strike me again as the sort of manager that can go in and shout at someone. Someone will give him a boot, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, that's I completely like. I don't see Solskjaer going in and like tearing strips off people when they're 1 down or whatever at half time. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember being at school and you had that one teacher that you knew you just wouldn't mess with, and you wouldn't get away with it, but there was that other teacher that you could piss all over, piss around, and get away with it. Yeah, and that's what
and you get to watch videos for the whole class.
Yeah, I kind of like it to that, and that's not just Man United. That's the same with a lot of managers, Chelsea and Arsenal. But look, this is all speculation, I suppose. Look, we really don't know, but
just Shane's text in there saying United very reliable on the individual brilliance, but it's not sustainable. But we will see what happens. Yeah, just like what you touched off there, lads. Like sometimes Ole gets bailed out with the individual brilliance, like, but. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like, I'm not fully convinced on Ole. Like, he's doing well at the moment, but I'm just not too convinced on him. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's long term with United. I still think he's more of a kind of a puppet, if you like. Where, like, he'll listen to the board. Like he wouldn't be, like you said, he wouldn't be tough. I think he's just more of a puppet for the board, and he'll do what they want. He'll do a job for him. Won't, like, even during the summer there now. Ole done good enough last year. I know Bruno came in and got in top 4, but to get United 3rd place, Ole deserved a bit of investment in the summer, and they just didn't get it. And I don't think he had his say in it really. Like, and just small things like that just doesn't have me convinced that he's the long term for United. Like,
I think United didn't like the Jose side of having him there and having him being so outlandish in terms of like what he would say and calling them out on things, and I think that like they like if you look at, like, say, Moyes, for example, the Moyes appointment, which at the time, to be fair, I don't think any of us would have said it was a bad shout.
No, it was brilliant.
But I think, again, if you look at that appointment, it was like, I think that's somebody who the board might have thought that, yeah, we'll get him in and we'll be able to kind of tell him how we want things to go. And then they got Van Gaal. And Van Gaal, again, like, I know he has a legacy in that there, but and I think, like, at the time, Spurs fans were absolutely gutted that United got Van Gaal out from our grasp. We were very, very close to having him as manager.
But you're not now, though.
No, Pochettino over him now. Like, but the problem is that then United seen that wasn't working. They needed that instant success thing, and that's where they got the Mourinho appointment. And we're kind of looking at the same thing now. But I think the United board, didn't like the idea of having someone that's strong-minded there in the position, which is why, exactly like you said, Jack, or Sean, that he's the kind of puppet.
Yeah. William, you're back. What do you think?
Yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't fully rate Ollie, but the one thing I will say about him, he definitely gets the players playing for him more than, say, our managers have gotten our players playing for us. He obviously has a great connection with some of the players that anytime they're close to getting into trouble, they bring out a performance and they constantly band together and they pull a few results through. Whereas you're seeing now Lampard's under trouble and it just seems to be bad performance, bad performance, bad performance. The same happened with us for ages and ages. And yeah, you can say that some of the players pulled out a big performance for us, but that was only because we put the youngsters in. So whereas in regards to United, they didn't make many changes, but the players were like, all right, we respect this guy more than, say, our players have respected our manager, if you get me. I still think he's also... It's very dependent on their form. Because once they get a few bad results, they tend to get more down in the dumps. And there starts to be a lot more worry, but I don't know. I'm a bit rambling now.
It's kind of like a cycle, isn't it? It's like win 17 penalties, Pogba's leaving, Raiola comes out, Ollie's about to get sacked, win 3 games, and repeat the whole thing again. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about Man United on the London show, but anyway.
Yeah, I just came back through internet through my phone, and I just hear talking about United. It's like, what? Where did this come from? United. I missed about 10 minutes.
Well, it was the
we're fueling their agenda, but they're always in our head.
I went from the Lampard thing to the Solskjaer thing.
Yeah, just that kind of inexperience of, you know, the likes of kind of Arteta, Lampard, and
to be fair, Ollie's had about a year or two extra at least on Lampard in terms of managing, so he'll have learnt more as well. I'd give Lampard till the end of the season personally.
Yeah,
because I don't think you're going to get anyone better in the short term. Because I don't rate Tuchel. That's my opinion on that. I'm not sure what you said in regards to that.
It's always hard though, you know. We're talking about sacking them, giving someone to the end of the season, because if you think about it, if you sack someone at the end of the season, that throws off your whole pre-season, and it's almost going to cost you another season. So realistically, if you are going to get rid of someone, you're better off getting rid of him mid-season or before the season ends, because, you know, if let's say with 10 games to go and you're 12th, what's the point of waiting? You know, it's not going to improve. So, you know, and you don't want the pre-season to be too disrupted. But look, hopefully we'll do an Arsenal and we'll do a Man United, and we'll pull a few results out the bag, and we'll be praising.
I personally think you're going to win the next 3 games you play. I think you'll manage to beat Wolves. I think you'll manage to beat Burnley. And I think, God help you, you better beat Luton. If they cause a shock, then God help you.
I don't know.
I think those
Rob Lee's son plays for them, doesn't he? Elliot Lee.
Yeah. And then after that, you've got a big London derby against Steve Spurs.
I know, yeah. I'm not confident with anyone at the moment. Rodgers would be mine as well.
Speaking of Spurs, anyway, we'll move on to the next topic. We can't be doing too much talking about United, because like we'll be in this talking about United, and I'm sure after we finish up we'll see pictures of Bruno and Pogba in the group chat again. As always, like, but we'll go on to the Dele Alli situation at Spurs. Obviously Pochettino was taken over at PSG. There's a lot of rumours linking Ali to PSG now, and saying that Poch really wants him there. Obviously we'll go to Mr. Spurs first. Steve, what's your opinion on the whole situation, and would you let Ali go on loan?
It would absolutely break my heart. Like, it's just, I keep saying it, like, as much as I understand, say, people are saying that like his motivation and things like that, but he's a victim of the formation. He just doesn't fit what Jose wants in terms of the 11 that we put out. He wants high work rate and tracking back. He doesn't really play a number 10 so much. Like where Delhi thrived was kind of almost like as a second striker, kind of just playing right in behind Kane, making that little pass in between the defenders and breaking lines and stuff. But what you don't get from Delhi is any defensive work rate. He'll pull out of tackles. He won't go in for a header. He doesn't track back, and he likes his fancy flicks and things like that. That Jose doesn't tolerate. He wants somebody who's just going to run their arse off from minute 1 to minute 91, and Delhi won't do that. But what Delhi will do is he'll give you that moment of brilliance when you need it. Like you Chelsea lads will know all too well, like from the games he scored in against you. But I think there's a lot to do with obviously Delhi then obviously having been demotivated from what's going on. I think 6 months at PSG would be great for him, reunited with Poch, get his mojo going again. However, I don't think it should be a permanent transfer, and I don't think Daniel Levy will want that. I think Daniel Levy would see that Dele Alli would probably outlive Mourinho's time at Spurs, and I think for that reason, Daniel Levy would be very, very hesitant to do a permanent deal. I could actually see, so like at the moment, it looks like Danny Rose is going to head over to Turkey. So he'll be off the wages. And Delhi goes on loan. I could absolutely see a case where we bring in Eriksson again. However, Alistair Gold on Twitter, who's probably one of the most respected Spurs journalists, tweeted there today that we're very interested in Lingard. Now he never brings up any transfer rumors, anything like that, unless it is something that the club are discussing, because he doesn't subscribe to all this in the know kind of stuff. So if he said it, there is some truth in it. Would I be opposed to it? No. Would he be in our starting 11? Absolutely not. But I think a move for Jesse Lingard is probably linked with a move away for Dele Alli.
Yeah.
But with Dele Alli, we'll say if he does go, obviously Spurs won't want to sell him in 6 months' time because his value will be nowhere near what he's actually worth because of the way things have gone in the last year. So Daniel Levy is not stupid, as you say, but what's going to change in 6 months' time if Mourinho is still there? Is he going to go out on another loan until he's gone, or?
Well, no, I think it would probably give Mourinho a chance to see him currently, and see him playing at full pelt. I mean, you have to remember, when Jose came in first, Delhi was one of his mainstays, but then after lockdown, Mourinho kind of changed a little bit how we play under him, and then this season altogether, he's gone with the 4-3-3 style. But now I'm wondering, because you see against Sheffield United, we played 3-4-3. And it really suited us. So I think looking at that formation, and he played in Ndombele in more of a 10 role, which he hadn't employed him before. He plays him as an advanced 8, yes, but never really as a 10. And I think if Ndombele was able to thrive there, it might be a position where Delhi could go in if need be. Lo Celso, we can't depend on him. When he is fit, he's an incredible player. He's box to box. He's tenacious. He won't duck out of a tackle. He's a shit stirrer. But him and Lamela, were the two Argentinian Darren Andertons. They're just, they're so bad injury wise. But then if you look at Dele Alli, he's just shy of 250 appearances for Spurs. He's 60 something goals, 50 assists. You can't just let a player leave like that. It would hurt.
Yeah, players do go from being phenomenal though, and they can drop off fairly quickly. Like it does happen. You know, like he wouldn't be the first player that's been that good and then it's just not anymore. I suppose. Look, that's all. Yeah, it's not down to skill. It's down to mentality. It's psychological. You know, it's something. You know, who knows?
It is. You're like confidence. I mean, like you're on the crest of a wave. I mean, if you're like when he came to Spurs, like at his age, about 19, 18, 19, like, and you're playing Premier League football, and you're banging in goals, assists, and you're riding the crest of that wave. You're going to have a bit of swagger about you, and you carry that into your games. You know, that's a huge thing. So I guess. A side effect of that, then I suppose, when you're not when you go from that high to the low of not starting games, it's a very big test of someone's character to be able to be still at like that level of performance that when you're called upon, you go into the fray and you make a difference instead of like, oh, he's just going to stick me on here for 10 minutes just to get a run out. And I think that's the little bit that Dele is lacking in is that mentality. Like where he should be there thinking, okay, I'm ready to go. I get my chance, 10 minutes, I'm going out there, I'm going to make a difference. Instead, he's been brought on and like he goes on the pitch, tries a couple of flicks, doesn't really like try and get himself into the game. And I can see why Jose won't start him. However, leaving him out of the squad altogether is a bit mad. Like, I mean, at the weekend, he had Jedson on the bench, you know, and left Dele Alli out of the squad. I mean, that's ridiculous, you know. Having Jedson on starting against Marine, even like for a guy who didn't kick a ball for us all season, I think was when there's academy players there that we would have much preferred to see in there, you know.
I suppose Dele Alli's never really been through this scenario in his head, has he?
That's exactly it. I mean, he's always been on the rise. You know, this is the first time he's had to kind of face a challenge like this. So I think he's to show, like I say, if it is a test of his character, he's failing it.
Big time.
Yeah. Seeing Shane leaving a comment there about us when we're talking about players from fall off a cliff. You mentioned Aubameyang.
Aubameyang,
I mean, yeah, it can happen. Sure, I've seen it with Aubameyang, but I do have to also state that Aubameyang has more Premier League goals this season than Timo Werner.
I never said anything. That was Friday.
I know. Well, actually, it was Sean. But I had to say that one, which is kind of mad, though. But that's only because he got 2 goals in his last game. It's happening a lot this season, though. A lot of players are just seemingly falling off a lot quicker, and there seems to be less goals scored at this time of the year to me as well. Because, I mean, the leading top goal scorer is Salah, and he's been pretty terrible by his standards this year. And you've got, well, Kane and Son doing well with goals. I hate saying that. I'm sorry, Steve. I hate saying that. In terms of Dele Alli, I personally think he's going to be loaned out to PSG. It will happen, but I can see him being sold permanently. Because if you go to Daniel Levy, if Tottenham have actually won a trophy and he says it's me or Dele Alli, is he going to choose the player that was playing well or the manager that's actually come in and won their first trophy in ages and has the history of success?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. Look, every player can have their off days, and the league nowadays is so much more competitive from the top to the bottom than it was 5 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago. It's like the smaller teams are so hard to break down and beat now. They're like, you know, Southampton. Look at Southampton for argument's sake. Burnley is always a tough team to play. And players. Do you know, we'll say if you're in this, like players like Aubameyang and, you know, the really technically gifted players, you know, they always thrive in kind of the German league or in the Spanish league because it's such a less physical league and more of a technical league. Whereas in the Premiership, it's just absolutely getting routed any opportunity by some massive defender. It's more physical, and players don't always like that. And especially now more than ever, I think the Premier League is. No, it is. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of technically gifted players. I'm not saying that, but as a general kind of rule, it's fairly a physical, strong league. So
like I seen tweet earlier on today that it just listed off like the different teams that have been on top of the table this year in the Premier League, and someone retweeted it then saying like that it shows like how shit the league is this year, like when this many teams have been on top of the league. Like I think the complete opposite. I think
absolutely.
I think we're at this point in the league this year, and there's nobody like running away with it. There's clubs like Villa who are still in the mix. Everton still in the mix. That to me is if anything is a sign of the quality of the league. It isn't a case of there's lots of teams playing really poorly. I think there's a case of there's a lot of teams playing way better. Dele Alli will not go to a Premier League side on loan. Not a hope will Daniel Levy allow that.
It cost them a fortune if they were.
Again, unless it goes to like a lower half team, which I don't think Dele will want. Which is like, I think I mentioned this before on the London show. Look at the Barkley loan to Villa or Loftus-Cheek to Fulham. Like that's probably what Dele Alli should do to be the big fish in a small pond and get that kind of confidence back into his game. But I don't think he'll do it. Like even if he went to, would say like Palace, he's still in London. Something like that. But I can't see him do it, to be honest.
But why would he want to do that? Why would he want to go into a kind of a relegation battle team, having been to win, go into a Farmers League, make himself look absolutely brilliant for 6 months under Pochettino, and come back, worth something? Like he's
well, at the time I'd mentioned this. Obviously, like that was well before Pochettino at PSG. But like now. Like, look, if there's even a sniff that PSG could be in for him, like, is he really going to turn down the chance to play with Neymar?
Yeah. But as a player, like for his own individual career, it'd be worth it. As a whole, you think to yourself, like as a fan looking in, going to play in that league, which is not really, it's nothing. It's more like the Championship, apart from one team. For him personally, he's going to have a bit of fun and maybe get confidence back, score a few goals, play some attractive football, be involved around the first team again, play in the Champions League. It's a no-brainer for him, and that's what you need because his skill, his talent is not in question. Like he's a good player, he's a very, very top player. He just needs a bit of game time. He needs to go away. I don't know. He needs to. Again, look, this is just my opinion, but someone needs to have a word with him and put their arm around him. And, he's still quite young, don't forget as well. And like he's always, as you say, he's been centre of attention since day one. His days at MK Dons when he was brilliant. And then no one thought he would break into the Tottenham team that quickly. And he was just phenomenal. That season, like what was it, 4 years ago, he was just unbelievable, unplayable, unbelievable player. And he needs to get back to that.
That's when he's given the license to do what he does. You see, like, and I think like that's like Pochettino gave him an awful lot of freedom on the pitch, and I think that's what he doesn't have under Mourinho, because Mourinho is very strict. He's very pragmatic. He has very specific roles he expects from those roles, and I think that's where the breakdown is with Dele. Is that Dele doesn't have the skill set to play in that kind of team, and that's not a like I'm not like trying to hate on Dele or anything like that. Like that's not an insult to him. It's just that for a manager like Mourinho, Dele doesn't suit his style of play and his demands. Whereas for Pochettino, who's like a lot more open, a lot more free flowing and creative based, that's where a player like he would thrive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I see people are starting to tell lies in the live chat there. I've seen Amy putting in Bruno.
I've seen that. I didn't even justify it with a comment.
Yeah, I know. It's spewing lies in that chat now.
Maybe on form. That's about it.
Yeah, maybe on form. Yeah. Right, so we're talking about we talked about Chelsea and Spurs there. Now we'll go on to Arsenal and how Arteta has turned the corner. It looked like he could have been a goner not so long ago, and Arsenal have won the last 4. William, is it, or last 5? Could be more.
Yeah, like
Could be
last 5, I think.
Yeah, it
we've
seems
drawn
like
one since the Chelsea game.
You won
And
so
won the
many, you
rest.
don't even know how many you won. That's how good it
Yeah.
is.
I can't believe Chelsea, the team, to actually cause this. Like,
No, you
I
drew
know,
a Palace, didn't you?
Yeah, I know. I said there was one draw in the meantime.
Yeah.
There was the Crystal Palace draw. I'm pretty sure that was the only draw. Well, the thing is, right, with us, they say we've turned a corner, but some of our performances really haven't. The only difference is we're actually scoring a goal now. Defensively, we've been very good. And the ironic thing is we've dropped, because of originally COVID, we dropped Gabriel and we've kept clean sheets. We've conceded 1 goal like since. Gabriel was our best player for 3 months. He got our player of the month 3 months in a row, which is mental. But the difference is we just finally found a goal scoring form. But the only 2 games I'd say we played really well in was the second half against Newcastle. And that's because they tried to play more attacking football and they left. Am I good?
No, I can hear.
I can hear you.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Okay. Newcastle played more attacking football and they left spaces in behind that we could abuse that space. They just played into our hands. Whereas when we played them in the FA Cup, we had to go into extra time because we couldn't break them down. Against West Brom, they didn't set up the best and we played some of the best football I've seen under Arteta. However, there was the game before that against Brighton, which we won as well. We played pretty poorly and we got one nice goal. Sorry, with Lacazette pulling off. So to say we've turned a corner, yes, we've turned a corner in terms of our results. However, the performances still aren't really good enough for what we want. I'm still going to say there's no chance I feel like we're going to finish top 4. No chance in hell. And I think even top 6 will be a struggle. And there's going to be more performances in this season where we're going to see us not be able to break teams down and possibly get caught on the counter-attack. But I feel we will get some more better results. We will keep it up. And next week also, I believe that we are still going to beat Man United.
Hopefully.
I hope so, yeah.
They need to be.
I don't know why. I am just really confident about that game. Don't ask me why. It's just that feeling I have in me. And this could look like I could be made to look like a fool by a terrible performance. And Lord knows they'll have fire because we're the last team to have beaten them. But like, that's my feeling.
The reason I won't be too surprised, and I haven't been funny, is like United have struggled against some of the. Like I know they've gotten like a bit of luck recently, and they're like getting over the line, even though they're not playing great. Like, but against some of the lesser teams that defend a lot, they can struggle to break them down sometimes. And Arsenal seemed like the way they set up, you just don't know. Like even the first game when he beat them 1-0, like if you set up well, they're beatable. Like,
yeah,
just the way I see it. Like I don't know, I just think they can get frustrated. Like and like obviously Bruno is playing very well this year and that, but like. If you can defend well enough, Bruno's going to keep going for the high risk, high reward balls, and just hopefully like against the last couple of games against Liverpool, that none of them come off. Like, and they struggle when his balls aren't come off. True, like
look, we'll make a few changes, but what you're seeing now is our team that'll probably end up starting for most of the season, barring injuries. Like the back 4, you'll have changes here and there between Bellerin and Cedric played very well against Newcastle. That was a surprise by me because I know a lot of the fan base hate on Bellerin, but I think this season he's played quite well. And other people tell me that he hasn't, but in my opinion, he has. You're going to see Gabriel come in for David Luiz. That centre-back partnership, despite having played okay in recent games, fills me with no confidence whatsoever between David Luiz and Rob Holding. I need Gabriel back in instead of David Luiz.
I'll be the last person to compliment any Arsenal player. I think Holding, to be fair to him, has kind of really stepped up for you. Agree to disagree?
Ever since I kind of berated him around the time against Leeds, where I was saying that he was our weak link. Ever since I've said he was our weak link, he's stood up and been accountable. Especially when you were expecting us to suffer defensively with the loss of Gabriel beside him. We brought in Pablo Mari on the left side, and he just Holding seemed to take up a more leadership type role, stand up and saying, we're doing this. And we've just become very rock solid. And I think you can still get at him. The one thing you've never seen a terrible performance. Like our other options, you've seen David Luiz have an absolute shocker last year against Man City. We've had Mustafi, who is... Let's not get into Mustafi. He's absolutely terrible. These memes. With Rob Holding, he can have a bad game, but it's never catastrophic. It's one or two mistakes. And the one thing I'll say with him, he just needs to get consistency, and I think he can be a very good centre back.
Are you still playing
very
five
good
at the back?
mid-table centre back?
What did you say again, sir?
A very good mid-table centre back.
Are you still playing five at the back, William? I haven't really watched much.
No.
Couple of games.
No, we've changed. We changed that. Kind of. United was one of the last games that we kind of played the five at the back, and even then we didn't really play it. We're playing more like a 4-2-3-1, I'll say. So you have the back four. You've got what will now, because Thomas Partey's back fit, who will hopefully help drive us on a bit more in terms of having the ball and moving forward. Because that's when we were missing him, when it was, say, Xhaka and Ceballos or Xhaka and Elneny. And Ceballos and Elneny, we were too sideways. Kind of what you were saying with Chelsea, all you're seeing was going sideways, and across. That's how we were playing. But now he's in, and Xhaka's picked up his performance, as you saw against Chelsea. Like, he was pretty solid. And even the last game, he was playing very well. Hopefully, we'll be playing the two of them, moving it forward. Then you've got our left winger, who will be Aubameyang now again. He's not good enough to be the central striker in terms of what he offers. All he offers is goals, and this season he hasn't been good enough. But he still gets into our squad. I would have started Martinelli in a few games, but Aubameyang's getting a few goals now, so hopefully that's fine. And then we play right winger Saka, Smith Rowe, who's been, for 7 games, it feels like he's played so much more. He's played a total of 12 Premier League games for Arsenal across all the seasons, and we have not lost one yet. So may that continue.
Yeah, good player.
Shane is asking in the comments, Smith Rowe or Havertz? He wants to get your opinion on it, William.
Look, I've loved as much. I haven't seen enough of Havertz, as in, because I don't pay attention a lot to the German league, so I don't know what he can offer. From what I've seen of this season, he hasn't performed well, but I'll give anyone time, because the Premier League is one of the hardest leagues to adjust to. So I'll give him time. But I love Smith Rowe. Plus, he's only 19 years old. He's one for the future. So
yeah, no, fairness.
And he wears his socks really low, like Jack Grealish.
No, you said it last couple of podcasts, so you like him.
So, I hate
that. Yeah. So you forward the back then, Tierney left back and Dua Lipa right back, is it?
Tierney, yeah. We'll get a new striker in the summer.
Yeah, I should hope so on that. Yeah, Lacazette was supposed to go to Atletico last summer, wasn't he? But it just fell through.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. And Juventus were interested in him as well. There's a few teams interested, but none of them would seem to go for it. It'll be his last year in his contract, and we're not going to offer him a new one, so that's why he's going. I don't mind Lacazette in the sense that what I like is he brings everyone else around him into play. But when it's not working, you can really see it's not working. But we need a striker that scores more goals as well. Even though he's been our top goal scorer this year, it's at 7 goals in the Premier League, I think. So we need more.
Yeah. We can move on to the FA Cup fixtures at the weekend now. All three London clubs represented in this podcast are playing. So, Steve, we'll go to your first Spurs on an away trip to Wickham, I think, is it?
Yeah. Like we played them a couple of years. We played them in 2017 at home, and like we were 2-0 down at half time. It was 4-3.
Akin Fenway used to play for them, or does he doesn't play for, or does he still?
No, he's gone now, I think. Or does he? I
No,
think
he's in the championship now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, with them though, isn't it?
Yeah, they are in the championship. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were League Two when we played them, but like we were dug out of the game that day. Like Vincent Janssen scored a goal that day, even, believe it or not. Like it was like Son in the 97th minute or something scored, and it was he took a shot that wasn't really going in. Defender tried to clear it, and he booted it into his own net. Like, so look, different now altogether. I mean, like the fact that we've come on an awful lot since then, but also I suppose they're a championship side now. You know, the only thing is that, like, if I look back to that game on the day, I mean, like, we conceded a penalty to them early on in the first half, and it was like Cameron Carter-Vickers gave it away. Like, you won't have a Cameron Carter-Vickers playing on Sunday Wickham because it's Jose. You know, and that's one thing that, like, I suppose, like, over the years, like, I mean, if you look at last year where like we lost some penalties to Colchester, like it's the reason we lost that was because of the kind of team that was on the field. Do you know? So I feel Jose takes the cups very seriously, whereas Pochettino used to say about the League Cup and FA Cup that they're only for your ego. Do you know?
I'm presuming
a mad statement.
I'm presuming now, like, on the bench, you'd rather see a couple of young players rather than the likes of Gedson at this time around as well.
Yeah, like I don't understand what's going on there with Gedson. I mean, I really don't. He's not registered for the Europa League. He's not in our Premier League squad, I think, even. So, I mean, it gives us nothing other than...
Wouldn't he have to be in your Premier League squad if he was on the bench, though? Last game?
You know, he's on the B list or whatever. He's under 20.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But like, I would like so Harvey White, who did really well against Marine, and I like an awful lot, has been loaned out now to Portsmouth, I think. So, and Jack Clark has gone to Stoke. So those kind of young fringe players that I would have liked to have seen getting minutes against Wickham aren't there now. So I'm not quite sure who comes into the fray in that regard. So I could see him playing a fairly strong team. We've Liverpool then on Thursday. We've Liverpool Thursday. We've Brighton on the Sunday, and then we've Chelsea on the Thursday. So
just a quick question, Steve. What's the issue with Gedson? Is he on a 2-year loan or something like that?
18-month loan. We signed him last January on an 18-month loan.
What's the issue with him then? Is he just not performing?
He's terrible.
Is he? I'm not.
Yeah, like he's just. Well, sorry, it's very harsh to say he's terrible. He's not a Premier League player. He's not a Premier League player at all. He's far too timid. He's far too like, he's very skillful. Like, a couple of glimpses that he's shown that, like, of quality are like ones where he's like taken on a player or like dinked it over someone's head and spun him around. That, do you know what I mean? So that kind of thing, he's great. Like a kind of like, if it was FIFA, like, it'd be the Volta player. But like, he just, again, like, kind of like in the Delhi kind of thing, like, he won't go into a tackle. He won't run back and track back and win a ball, make that kind of tackle. So, like, he doesn't suit a Jose team. So, look, he's got the same agent as Jose, so I think there's something there as a favour kind of a thing. I don't know, was it a prelude that we got him in January on loan for 18 months and that the deal for Vertonghen to go to Benfica was already done? Something like that. But like, I mean, he's taken up a spot for a foreign player that we could easily fill with someone quality. So
Yeah.
Sunday we should see it out on Sunday. Obviously, I'd be a lot more nervous in other years with Pochettino there just because of the way he treated cups. I think Mourinho's going to go and win this game on Sunday. So
yeah, it's another opportunity for a trophy, like you're saying as well. Like Mourinho will take every one of them serious. So yeah, don't blame him. The FA Cup is not exactly like a small competition either. Like it's not like
no.
Yeah,
and
like it's,
for me, I suppose as I said the last day I was on with Kendall, I was like, it's the FA Cup is the first trophy I saw Spurs lift back in '91. So like, if I have an attachment to it in that sense as well. So I'd love to see the club lifted. I mean, yes, it gets you a Europa League spot and blah 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 whatever, but like it's still it's a trophy. And same with the League Cup. I mean, I want my club to win a trophy just so the players get that taste of success, and that's an awful lot to do with how clubs kick on. Is that they get that taste for it, they win something, and from there then they want more of it, and they're driven, and it gives Jose kind of like, look, I told you I'd win something. Now let's crack on. Go.
No, exactly. Like, go on to William now. You have a tough fixture in the Cup away to Southampton, is it?
Way to Southampton. Half 12
it's tough
Saturday
for this stage.
morning.
Yeah, it's tough for this stage of the competition, like this early.
Look, it's Arsenal are used to getting not easy ties in the FA Cup. You look at last year, we beat Wolves, we beat Sheffield United. Wait, did we beat Wolves? I know we beat Portsmouth. That was our one easy tie. We beat Sheffield United. We beat Man City. We beat Yee in the final. And we had another Premier League game early on.
I think United,
and we had Leeds who were leading the championship. I think it was... Yeah, it was Wolves, wasn't it? Was it?
I thought United knocked out Wolves.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Look, in the last 20 FA Cup games we've had, I'm pretty sure it's like 16 of them have been against Premier League sides, which is mental. But we never do it the easy way. So facing Southampton is going to be a tough time, but if you want to win it, you've got to beat who's in front of you, and you're going to have to beat a top team eventually. So I'd rather do it by beating Premier League sides week in, week out. And if we don't manage to beat them, well, too bad. You lost to a Premier League side who are on good form. Southampton are playing better than we are at the moment. They're playing better than Chelsea are. They're playing some very good football, but they can be got at. I mean, we played them, it was before the Chelsea game, and it was a 1-1 draw where Rob Holding hit the crossbar in the very last minute from a free kick. So we could have beaten them then. I expect to see a few changes in terms of our squad, just in terms of rotational thing. I expect to see Gabriel start so we can actually get minutes back into his legs, so we can get him back into the side. After he had COVID, obviously, so it's going to take a bit of time, but I feel like the FA Cup is the best time to have him in. I expect to see Gabriel Martinelli get given a go on the left wing. I'd expect to see Aubameyang dropped for this match. And I'd say Smith Rowe, I think, might get rested. And I feel like Xhaka might get rested as well. So you'll see a few changes. Like I expect to see Pepe out on the right wing, just giving him a few minutes for games just to get him ready for the Europa League. And then a player who we all love probably end up in the 10, Willian. You know, the best player Arsenal ever gotten from Chelsea ever. The best squad deal ever. Which is unfortunate, but I just say he's in. So his performances have been terrible. I really can't explain it. Was he really that bad for Chelsea? Was he really that bad?
Yeah, and like Chelsea Twitter just warned you like at the start. He had that good game the first game, and they just warned you like it was going to turn like that. He's just so frustrating to watch when you're watching him week in, week out. Like, and if you're not watching, you're like, say people weren't watching Chelsea that don't support Chelsea. Like he pops up with these free kicks and stuff, and he could score one in 10 games, and play bad for 9, and people only see the one game he plays well in. Like, and yeah, it's just when you have him in your team, you just realise then how frustrating he is.
It's a mix of that, and well, every single free kick, yeah, he hits into the fucking wall. Sorry about the language there.
First man off the corners.
He isn't on corners anymore. We have for some reason Saka started taking corners, and a few of them hit the first man, then a few of them will hit the back post, which ironically have constantly gone to David Luiz, who can't seem to header a ball anymore.
I noticed actually the last couple of corners seen Arsenal taking, they're doing the thing where they're all in top of the keeper, and he hits it to the back post to Luiz to knock it back.
It's very nice. You see, in the summer, we got a new set-piece specialist in for the club. And that seemed to have helped, not in terms of attacking. We haven't scored many. But we've only conceded 1 goal from a corner all season. Now, everyone knows that back, even just last year or years before, whenever you were playing us, it was like, oh, we have a corner. They're terrible defending corners or even free kicks. It was always one of our weak points. So ever since we got our set-piece specialist in, he was at Brentford. It's really helped improve us. And the only one we conceded to was against Yerry Mina, who's an absolute monster in the air.
Yeah.
But in regards to the FA Cup game against Southampton, I'm a little bit nervous. I hope we can beat them. I think it's the first test to see if we really have turned the corner. It's the first proper challenge for us. So,
yeah, and I'd imagine
hopefully we can do it.
Yeah, I'd imagine Arteta will want to go far enough, considering like how, like where you are in the league. Like, I know you're not much behind us, but like I'm not even confident of Chelsea getting top 4, and you said you're not confident of Arsenal getting it. Like, so kind of, if you're not going to be getting top 4, it'd be nice to get a trophy. I know you have Europa League as well, like, but I'm sure you'd like to go deep into competition. Yeah.
The thing is, right, as well, if we manage to get through this game, we face the winner of Chorley, I think, is against Wolves, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we faced the winner of that game, so we're probably facing Wolves in the next round. So another Premier League tie, which would be 3 in a row. Newcastle, Southampton, Wolves.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
No, I can Chelsea now. Obviously, you got a bit of an easier draw this weekend. Chelsea home to Luton. We're only a couple of more days away from Havertz scoring another hat-trick, and we'll be feasting on YouTube videos. Kai Havertz better than Bruno Fernandes 2021. I can't wait. Like, I started in a dark few weeks as a Chelsea fan, and I cannot wait to start watching Havertz's better than Bruno compilations again. Like, but yeah, I'm fully expecting. If this was at the start of the year, I would have said that a lot of young people, a lot of young players would have been playing, but the fact that Lampard's under so much pressure, you've seen it there in the game against Morecambe. Played a fairly solid team, not many young players, so it'll probably be the same this time around. Trying to get through, trying to build the fitness to some of the players, and like we were saying earlier, he doesn't know where he's playing these players. Maybe place some of them in their correct positions, like get Havertz closer to the goal and burn up top and build on the confidence and scoring against Morecambe. Like, but they're the only things I can really say. But
I said that on the last pod I was on. I said that like those are the things that like he needs to play like the Havertz and Werner in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing against, whether it's like some Chelsea under 12s on the training pitch. As a player who scores goals for a living, there's no better feeling than like having the ball hit the back of the net.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, you're saying there, like, and I actually didn't get it one bit. He played against Morecambe and scored a goal, and then dropped straight away for the Leicester game. Like I thought, like he'd try and build on something, like, and like he said, I know you don't like it's against Morecambe, I know, but like you said, it's like building. It's about building your confidence, and I would have thought.
Yeah, but he'll have his chest puffed out. You know what I mean? Like that's why I was slightly disappointed about Dele. I mean, I know it was only Marine. Let's be honest. Like, I mean, but like he pretty much ran the game. You know, and then to see him not even on the bench.
Yeah, that's.
You know, like, I mean, that's like he would have been feeling after the Marine game. Okay, I put in a very good performance. Jose was very complimentary about his performance, and you'd be thinking to yourself right now, okay. I know I'll be on the bench against Sheffield United, but I'll get my chance maybe.
Yeah, I might get a cameo. Yeah.
You know, and then he didn't even make the bench. So I really don't know what's going on there. Like, you know, it's at the stage now where like I don't even think that Dele will play against Wickham.
Yeah.
You know, and I know Keane there asked, do I have a theory about City's draws? any other year I would probably comment on that, but I can't this year because of the luck we're having with draws in all the competitions. Like, and that's another reason that's kind of like is leading me to believe that there's something in this year. There's the old fabled like Spurs thing, like there was songs and everything sung like when the year ends in one. And then
So how was 2011?
Well, no, but yes, I know 2011 and 2001, you know, but like even like look at the Europa League, Wolfsberger, like is the kindest draw we could have gotten there, really. Going through, looking at the League Cup, like we got the Brentford out of anyone that we could have gotten, we got the Brentford draw, you know, like. We knocked out the easier teams like Chelsea earlier on.
I was waiting for it.
And then if you look at the FA Cup so far, like Marine, Wickham, you know, so maybe there's something there. I don't know, but definitely looking at the City thing over the years, you kind of if I was into me conspiracies, I'd definitely be thinking there's something there.
Yeah, even just get I know Mönchengladbach aren't so bad, but like out of the draws they could have gotten the Champions League, like like it's just I think it was Porto last year they got as well in that stage, and then Leon ended up knocking them out. But it's very strange. Like, so we're on about we talked about Dele Alli and possibly leaving and transfers and stuff today. But on our last topic, if you were over your club or whatever for the last few days of this transfer window, is there anything you'd like to do, or is there someone you'd like to see coming in? I can start off with you first, Steve.
But I'd like to point out, isn't it mad how quiet it is?
Oh, yeah, so quiet.
January, like I know it's January, but like, and we're in a pandemic and all that. But even still, it's just mad how quiet it is. It's almost as if it's not even the transfer window.
I keep forgetting it's I keep forgetting.
Like I like normally in a transfer window, I would be like refreshing the Twitter feeds that we go on to like the Spurs community in the no thread and all this and all that, but it's like you just forget it. Like, but I think we need a centre half. Like Dyer does a job. I think what Shane said in the comments earlier on, like the holding is the steady Eddie. Dyer is that. He doesn't really put a foot wrong generally, but he'll never ever be like a world class centre half. Alderweireld he's getting slower. But what we don't have is say say you have Silva, Arsenal have Gabriel, Liverpool have Van Dijk, United have Maguire. Is that someone who's commanding in the air? Half someone that you like. Look, we've conceded the same fucking goal about 8 times this season.
I seen you talking about that. Yeah.
Cross from out wide. It happened again at the weekend. Do you know? Against Sheffield United. Ball, simple, quick throw in, ball crossed in, wasn't dealt with. Ben Davies is not a centre half. But what I do like is Joe Rodon looked very comfortable.
I must say, I watched most of that game. He looked good.
Didn't he? He
did. He looked good. Yeah.
He has a bit of everything. Kind of almost like a John Stones type. He's very, very good on the ball. He's very quick for a centre half. He likes to get in the air and likes to head it away. But I could see Jose maybe looking for like an old reliable centre half, like a Thiago Silva-esque type player. Do you know what I mean? Someone who's that bit of experience. To come in there and just shore up the defense. Like the clip there, they showed the Spurs do this thing, the Mourinho camp, where they show his reactions to certain things in the game. And if you look at the one from the other day, Sheffield United, when they scored, when that ball was being crossed into the box, Mourinho turned around and walked away.
I seen it. He knew it was going in before. I seen that clip. Yeah.
Do you know? He can't be happy with that. Now, yes, Eric Dyer was slightly out of position, and like misjudged the header. But Ben Davies just cannot compete in the air. Like he can't. that was absolutely, that was definitely something I think that Sheffield United were playing for. Was once they seen our starting 11, it was to put balls in on top of Ben Davies. He can't deal with balls in the air.
Yeah.
So I think we need, if we're going to play that 3-4-3, which I like, I think, we need another commanding centre half. Then other than that, creativity, like, you know, say like every club has a front three. We have at the moment, we have a 2-pronged front three. Kane and Son are lethal, but we're missing that third lethal part of it. If we got someone who could get there, I'd still like it to be Bale. I don't think he's going to get the game time to get back up to that level. So I'd like us to get somebody in there, or even I'm absolutely on board with getting Eriksen back as well, even if he's on loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Would you get him back at the expense of Ali going alone? Yeah, like kind of.
Yeah, I think there's the thing there. I think what they're caught up on at the moment. Origi just missed a clean through 1-on-1, hit the crossbar. I'd like to see Eriksen come back, just because I think we missed that creative spark. Eriksen, like, yes, like he didn't down tools, right? But he definitely maybe had his head turned a little and kind of went off the boil slightly. But Bale refused to train to force his move. Do you know? Modric the same, but we still love them too, you know. So why can't we give Eriksen the same respect? Like, since he signed for Spurs, nobody in the Premier League had created more chances than him. Do you know? That's really what we miss. Like, again, Sean, you'll know. Oddly enough, like I said, like when we finally did beat you, it was Dele Alli, 2 headers from 2 Christian Eriksen crosses.
He was
able to pick out that ball and put it on a plate. We don't have that at the moment.
Yeah,
you know, so I think that's what we need back.
Yeah, no, so it might be hard to come by, but like you said, an experience in the half in January be a really good business for Spurs, I think. They go, it'd be really good business. William, on to Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal should do anything in January, or will?
Should and will are a different answer nearly. I feel we'll try, but I feel like it'll be Martin Odegaard or nothing. We're going to really try and get the loan in with an option to buy, but according to reports, his eye is set on more so Real Sociedad. Now, whether or not we can convince him or not, I don't get the good feeling. I'd say he will end up at Sociedad, staying in Spain. No worries there.
Yeah.
Buendia isn't going to happen, I don't think, because we'd have to offer ludicrous money, like 40 or 50 million. Now, he may be a good player, but in January, like, who's paying 40 or 50 million on a player from the Championship in January when nobody's even paying, say, 25 million for anyone right now? Nobody's buying anyone. But it's that creative player. Now, I know Emile Smith-Rowe has been class and he's been brilliant, and trust me, I sing his praises anytime I can. He can't do it alone. If he got an injury, we'd be back to square one. And we wouldn't have the player to fill in that position. So that's why we need that attacking-minded midfielder to fill in and to give game time and give Smith-Rowe a bit of a rest, because it's a long season. We still have Europa League. We'll have Thursday, Sunday coming up. Hopefully more than once, because hopefully we don't get knocked out to Benfica. But
that's what I was thinking. You could get them in.
They're in bother at the moment as well with a coronavirus outbreak. Like who like the 14 players, Jan Vertonghen being one of them. So like, who knows what lasting effects they might have from that? Like, you know, they might all be cured by that, but like, look at the case of like San Maxim at Newcastle.
Newcastle. You've got Havertz, who apparently hasn't yet come in properly for Chelsea. You've got Gabriel, who got it and hasn't played a match since, which is surprising for everyone, but you don't know what effects it has on him. Other than the attacking midfield position, we need a second goalkeeper. Runarsson wouldn't be good enough. Say if Leno got injured against
shocking.
Mopai again, I think Runarsson might be a bit of a problem. Now, I have seen that we've been linked with number 2 goalkeeper from Barcelona, Neto.
Yeah.
So, again, haven't seen much of him. Nobody really has seen much of him because he's number 2. But it won't be surprising to see us try and... It wouldn't be surprising for us to bring in a Brazilian, given Edu and his links to everyone in Brazil. That seems to be his MO.
Yeah.
And then, other than that, a second choice left back, because our only proper left back is Kieran Tierney at the moment. Other than that, we play Maitland-Niles there, but God, his head is gone. His head is totally gone, and he's not playing. Right.
Okay, I've seen you playing recently, and
it was 2 games ago.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was against, but he was terrible. Like, and I think he's decent. Like, usually
Crystal Palace, a 0-0 draw. The game that was terrible to watch. But yeah, he was off the pace. He's like lost his smile, and he's just playing miserably, and it's like he doesn't want to be there. And it's so weird because he was playing so well, and it's the reason we kept him, because he was playing so well, and it was like, Grant, you'll definitely get chances in the squad if you continue playing like this. And then he's just dropped off ever since he got his England call-up.
Yeah, I forgot he got that.
Odd. And he somehow stayed in the England side despite not getting performances for us. He managed to make the second lot in October, wasn't it? When he wasn't playing for us, which is weird. But he won't get into the Euro squad playing how he is, or not playing.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Yeah, no, I was thinking the same myself about the whole Smith Rowe situation. Like, I think he should be bringing someone to ease the burden on him. Like, cause, like, I know he's been playing class, but he's still like he's in his first few Premier League games. Is eventually gonna get fatigued and that, and he's not gonna like be playing, like you said, Thursday Sunday every week and keeping that level. Like, but in terms of Chelsea and the transfer window, no, they're not going to do anything, I don't think, at all. If I had it my way, I'd be all over Rice or DM right now, because Chelsea are very short in that area. They don't have a DM. Kante is not a DM, like, and it was evident against Leicester as well. When Kante was out, like, he played a Mount, Kovacic pivot, and I even said it in the chat before, it's the most attacking pivot I've ever seen. Knew straight away we're going to get cut open. Like, Leicester are a dangerous side, but if you have that pivot there, there's going to be no defensive structure. Like, I would have played Gilmore before Kovacic. At least Gilmore offers something defensively. Like, and Kovacic he has been very poor this year towards the standard he set last year. Like I when we put out our strongest team this year, I wouldn't have had it in my first 11, but I would have thought he would have been a very good rotation option. But he's been terrible this year. Like I said there, Chelsea probably won't do anything. The main thing that they have to do is shift players this window. Alonso is apparently going. I think he could be going to Barcelona because Junior Firpo is going to Milan. So Alonso's going to end up over there. And we got rid of the biggest burden in the club. Danny Drinkwater left the other day. So he's finally gone. He's out on loan, so he's off the wage bill. And I'm fully sure his contract is up at the end of the 6 months. So we'll be rid of him. And maybe one or two more might go to cut down the squad, because if Lampard is staying, he's going to need a smaller squad because he won't be able to keep everyone happy. But like I said, I was going to say there, my biggest issue though in January is to sort out the management problem. Either tell Lampard he's there to the end of the year, or sack him and get someone new in. That's Chelsea's biggest issue in this window, and I think that's what needs sorting the most, because I don't think there's going to be any business coming in. Keane come to there saying Drinkwater fighting with your players. Yeah, it was all against Spurs, Steve, was it?
Yeah. It was Alfie Devine, you know, the young lad that scored against Marine.
Yeah.
The youngest ever player goal scorer, yeah. So, but, like, that's that Drinkwater thing. Like, at Chelsea, is like the ultimate kind of like, we've got loads of money, so like, you know, like 40 million just to have like a homegrown player on your books.
Yeah,
it's mental, you know.
I know, like the likes of Kepa and that get like grilling for the like price tag and stuff, but Drinkwater is by far the worst signing Chelsea's ever had. By far. I don't care.
Maybe not worst signing in terms of the player, but like when you look at the money they spent for him, absolutely. Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like that's it. Like the worst signing is always a kind of a relative statement, but it definitely, when you look at it, they spent 40 million on him.
Yeah, that's I meant to say that just in terms of like price and what they pay for. Like, I'd pay 72 for Kepa any day before I'd pay 40 for Drinkwater again. Like, that's how bad he is. Like, yeah. But no, at least he's finally off the books now, and like I said, Chelsea's biggest obstacle this transfer window is actually the management. What they're going to do with that and how they're going to progress with the rest of the season. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the end of the window. Is it closed at the end of January this year with COVID, or is it in February? Or I don't actually know.
February 1st.
February 1st.
February 1st. I'm pretty sure.
So another 10, 11 days left in the window. I can't see too much been done because, like Steve said, like I keep forgetting the transfer window is even open. It's so quiet, but probably get a few.
Everyone's afraid of their shit as well to spend a bit of money based on like the uncertainty of what's going on. Like, you know.
Yeah. I presume we'll probably see just maybe a few loans here and there coming into the end of the window. A few decent players might move on loan now, but that's about the extent of it. The
only thing I think that will lend to maybe some activity in the market is the Euros.
Yeah.
You know, so because like there are players that are going to want to stake a claim for their national teams to get a place like in that squad. So that was why, for example, like the Harry Winks rumors were there, and it's another reason why I think Dele will probably go, is that like if he puts in a solid few months at PSG, if he goes there, for example, like there's every chance he could get into that England squad.
Yeah, he's more than capable. Yeah, he's definitely has the quality. Like, definitely. Yeah. And around with the Euros, actually, what could potentially happen? I'd say kind of March, April time. You could see. Well, he mightn't break, but you might see a few deals been done early before the Euros. Now, clubs might want to buy players before any prices skyrocket in the Euros and stuff. So you might see a few things around March or April. You don't know. Yeah, so that's all the topics that we were going to cover there today. For anyone who's watching, make sure that you give the weekly Armchair Kickoff a like and subscribe. And you can see the boys' names there. They have it underneath their picture. That's their social media handles. Make sure to give the boys a follow for good football content and good opinions. Speaking of Steve there, I can't really vouch for William on that. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed the show and had a good watch. And we'll talk to you again soon.
And the boys are doing their Liverpool United preview tomorrow night as well. So just tune in again. I'm sure it'll be
for the Sunday.
Pretty spicy, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that should be good. Yeah. To make sure to tune into that tomorrow night as well. I'm sure you'll have a lot of banter with the boys, and make sure to contribute as well and comment into the live chat. Get a bit of banter going on ahead of Sunday. Hopefully it won't be another 0-0. So thanks very much everyone for watching. And
hopefully it will be a 0-0, and hopefully it goes 120 minutes plus penalties.
Yeah, good extra time.
Yeah, agreed. Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Thanks a million.
Bye.
Cheers.